past 2 days that we have witnessed volleyball action here in the Premier Volleyball League Open Conference 2022, what have we found out about the heart of Philippine volleyball? For the Army, heart is about staying true to themselves. For the CHOCO MUCHO Flying Titans, they will show their strong heart, especially after playing without their team captain Maddie Madayag this conference. And for the F2 Cargo Movers, they showed their competitive heart by making a dominant win and making a statement in their first win here in the pros. And for Cherry Tigo, they have a heart of a champion. And they showed resilience, that they can overcome any adversity. And today, these 4 teams will show us and define the heart of Philippine volleyball. Welcome to the Premier Volleyball League 2022, the heart of volleyball.
Welcome to the Paco Arena, where the heart of volleyball continues to beat. This is the PVL 2022 Open Conference. And boy, do we have a great one to start things off here today. We have Army coming up against CHOCO MUCHO, who are going to make their debut here this conference. Soon after that, we'll have the Cherry Tigo crossovers taking on the F2 Logistics Cargo Movers. And if we've learned anything in the first few days of this conference so far, never have any set expectations kasi grabe, mas surprise lang po kayo. I'm Paulo Del Rosario. Alongside me right now is Mela Tunay, who really appeared out of nowhere to come here and help me out break this game down. When you talk about Army and how they perform against F2, you have to say that you can never look down on them. And itong CHOCO MUCHO naman will want to impress the first day out.
That's right. Lagi ko nga sinasabi, when we talk about the Black Mamba Army Lady Troopers, we can't count them out. You know, kahit gaano karami yung mga player movements natin, yung mga acquisition ng ibang lineups, hindi magpapahuli yung puso at experience at pagiging veterano nitong mga Lady Troopers. And syempre, CHOCO MUCHO, they are the only team that we haven't seen play here in the PVL. And today, yan nga yung very exciting dahil ang ganda rin ng lineup nila, ang daming addition. So, very looking forward to that match.
I can guarantee you that everyone wants to see how CHOCO MUCHO look. Ito po yung mga pool standings natin. And Pool A, the only pool with 5 teams, that will be a big factor. Kasi itong Pool A, that's the only pool that will have a team eliminated. Kaya gaano ka-importante yung mga game katulad nito?
Sobrang importante, every game counts. Yung format natin for this conference, single round lang. So, yung standing talaga nila in this round, magmamatter kasi yung 5th team will have to go to the classification matches already at lalaroin niya rin yung bottom 2 nung kabilang kupunan. So, kung sino makakalaban nila doon will depend din sa standing nung Pool B. So, ganun ka-complicated at ganun ka-crucial yung mga laro natin dito sa PVL.
Let's take a look at the Army Black Mamba, yung opening game nila against F2. Now, when you look at Army, medyo masasabi natin mabagal yung simula nila eh. Their first 2 sets, very error-prone, but then they showed the potential they have to shock bigger teams.
Definitely. At yun nga, nabanggit mo yung slow start. We kept mentioning also na hindi pwede yung slow start this conference kasi nga, konti lang yung games, every game would matter. And yung maganda lang dyan, towards the 3rd set of that game against F2, naka-adjust yung team. Of course, they got leadership from the veteran and the legend, Ging Balse Pabayo. And of course, si Royce Tobino then led the team with 18 points and they managed to secure the 3rd set, winning it 25-21. Pero they still fell short in terms of support sa offense and defense. And we have to take note also na malaki yung naging kawalan dito sa kupunan ng Army after losing Jovelyn Gonzaga this conference.
Of course, it will always be difficult to make up for the production of a Jovelyn Gonzaga. But then, you talked about si Royce Tobino and alam mo yung mga riders natin, sinabi nila na it was honey barbecue eh. Kasi syempre, honey rin yung pangalan ni Tobino. Honey barbecue performance here coming from Royce Tobino against the F2 Logistics. We have more from her in this report. Tobino last time around, 18 points through 18 attacks. Of course, we're gonna hear from her in just a bit. Pero syempre naman, filling in big shoes here as one of the offensive cogs here for the Army Black Mamba. Syempre, she has a bit of help but let's see whether or not she can continue that on here in this conference. Now let's hear it from the woman herself in just a bit. Because that time, 18 points. Nagulat ka ba na itong si Tubino yung umangat?
Actually, hindi kasi, with the loss of Jovelyn Gonzaga in their lineup this conference, expected na talaga na yung load ng offense sa kanya mapupunta. So, definitely, she needed support in that game. May nakita tayong mga magagandang highlights from some of her teammates talking about Jem Gutierrez, even their newcomer, Michelle Morente. Pero, kailangan pa. Nakakuha sila ng isang set and we can't count them out. So, this game, we'll see if they'll bounce back.
Of course, we're gonna see whether they can bounce back, and we mentioned yung errors a while ago. Importante talaga yung strong start dito and really reminding everyone how good this team potentially can be. Pero tough task against Choco Mucho. Now let's lead it them and let's talk a bit to the girl herself, Miss Tobino.
Yung first game namin siguro slow start kasi talaga adjustment pa eh. Maybe, kaya kinuha ko yung third set, parang niredeem ko yung sarili ko, bakit nangyari yung first and second set. So parang refocus agad, ayun, para makabalik kasi hindi pwede mawala sa game eh. Kailangan ka eh, so kailangan mo magpursige pa din. Ayun. Siguro yung first game, iwas muna errors kasi pag galing kang sa attack points tapos sunod-sunod yung errors mo, parang nakakalumural. So kailangan mo talaga i-stop yung errors mo muna para one step at a time nila muna. Tapos may pressure, pero syempre, yung pressure na yun, kailangan mo maging positive pa din. Pero tapos, i-motivate mo yung mga kasama mo para madala mo sa court, madala din nila sa court din.
Talk about dealing with the pressure, yung expectations. We all know that si Tobino knows that her teammates will look up to her to try and produce against all the big competitors we have here dito sa PVL.
In terms of delivering naman for the team, kayang-kaya ni Tobino. And we saw kanina, she was talking to Coach Kung Fu. So for sure, tinitrain din siya in terms of leading the team in other aspects other than scoring na yung pagbuhat sa team. So we'll see kung paano niya madadala yan sa game.
Let's take a look at the lineup of Choco Mucho. Kasi, well, if you have been watching the PVL for quite some time, ibang-iba yung lineup nila ngayon. Maraming additions and a lot to consider considering they are replacing Manny Mataya and they have a lot of key additions here who could make a big difference to how far this team goes.
Looking at their lineup last conference, Pao, partida, they placed 4th in that last conference and ngayon, si Maddie nga lang yung nawala. Pero look at the additions that they got for the Coach Oliver squad. We have Des Cheng coming into the lineup, Isa Molde, Aduque Gonzania, Cherry Nunag, Tang Ponce, and Jem Ferrer. So definitely, it's looking like a revamped team, no? And quality players talaga yung nakuha nila. And more than the quality, it's really a lot of their players being all-around players, especially in Des Cheng and Isa Molde. So definitely yung aabangan din natin dito is the chemistry if they're gonna gel right in time for their first game against the Army Lady Keepers.
Well, we talked to BDL actually just a while ago. Siyempre, I'm very interested to hear what she has to say about this new look team. So let's hear from her.
Exciting. I think we all love the new energy on court and we also love getting tips from each other. Siyempre nga, sabi mo, iba-ibang sistema. So, marami kami natutunan from each other. So, that's really, really exciting, especially long-term wise. Without Maddie, siyempre sa una medyo kapaan kasi talagang we've been so used to it na andun kami lahat and kami nagtutulungan. In terms of being more vocal, hindi naman kasi yun naman talaga yung role ko even when she was there. But yun lang, talaga the things that she used to do, konting reminders here and there, and of course her leadership and intensity on court. That was the harder part to figure out. With the tournament being shorter, we really wanna just take it one game at a time. Pero at the same time, kailangan talagang all out kagad eh. So wala kaming room for warming up kasi nga very crucial kagad yung 4 first games namin in the eliminations kasi may advantage kagad sa quarters and all of that. It's still one game at a time, but again, like I said, we really have to push a lot kagad and right away. So, yeah.
Starting out strong, Choco Mucho Flying Titans want to get that done. Let's find out who the lineups here today are at the Paco Arena.
Presenting our national officials for this match. First referee, Mr. Erwin Lu Cordero. Second referee, Mr. Rene Gaspilio. Let us welcome our starting lineup for our Choco Mucho Flying Titans. Let's start off with our team captain, number 14, Isabel Beatriz De Leon. At number 2, Desiree Cheng. Wearing jersey number 3, Maria Dina Isabella Wong. At number 9, Pauline Marie Gaston. Jersey number 10, Katrina May Tolentino. And number 11, Duque Christine Ogonsanya. Libero is number 13, Denise Lazaro Revilla. Head coach, Mr. Oliver Alan Almadro. Calling on our team of the Philippine Army Black Mamba Energy Drink. Team captain is number 15, Honey Royce Tubino, Corporal. At number 3, Staff Sergeant Joanne Bunag. Wearing jersey number 4, Private Ivy Perez. Number 11 is Miss Aiko Sweet Urdas. Number 13, Miss Michelle Morente. And number 21, Private Jeanette Villarreal. Libero is number 10, Sergeant Angela Nunag. Head coach, Staff Sergeant Emilio Kung Fu Reyes Jr.
Take a look at the starting lineups here for Choco Mucho and Army. Choco Mucho up first, and looking at this, very familiar names and a couple of new faces here to get us going dito para sa Choco Mucho Flying Titans. Again, I'd like to reintroduce myself. I'm Paulo De Rosario, doing this kasi bago na yung analyst ko, yung co-host ko ngayon, and that is Doc AJ Pareha. Let's take a look now at Army Black Mamba, and when you look at this lineup, take a look at si Tubino, si Morente, and all these pieces here that can make a difference dito para sa Army Black Mamba. On the left of your screens, that will be the Army Black Mamba in their white jerseys. On the other end, in purple, Choco Mucho Flying Titans. Welcome to the heart of volleyball. Here we go. Doc AJ, kamusta ka naman? I have yet to really say hello to you here, and I'm sure you're as excited as I am to see these two teams face off.
Yes, I'm very much excited here. First time to go live, and I couldn't be happier to be at the venue, watch it live. Been a while, and yeah, sorry, but I came from training, but I'm very much excited here.
Alam mo, okay lang yan kasi bayani si Carmela Tunay helping us explain the matchup earlier on in the pregame. Choco Mucho gets on the board first. Look, AJ, my biggest question around this Choco Mucho team will always be, with all the new faces that they have, can we expect this team to try and shake off a bit of rust, try to find chemistry? Kasi it's one thing to be together for a long time in training, pero iba pa rin building chemistry in a competitive environment as Choco Mucho go to up.
Well, it plays a little factor with the time that they were able to start training, but I don't think it should be an issue because these players are all familiar with each other in the collegiate leagues. Notable with Choco Mucho, it's mostly the lineup right now, it's a green and blue combination. So they know they should be familiar with each other, how they play. So I don't think chemistry is actually an issue because they're all standout players anyway.
Absolutely. Choco Mucho going off to a great start here, 3-0. We were talking a while ago about how Army need to avoid slow starts like what happened against F2. And that serve goes a bit too long, so Army Black Mamba finally on the board. Michelle Morente to serve here for Army.
Yeah, Yeah, and with Army right now, the pressure is to be highly consistent with all their fundamentals because they're up against a relatively taller team with good blocking, and basically CHOCO MUCHO has the height advantage, so Army has to be more consistent.
A miscue there again for CHOCO MUCHO as Army pull within one. Morente to serve, and that is long. Of course, Morente had a good game last time around. Still finding the rhythm as the rest of this Army team. Siyempre, wala na si Gonzaga in this team, so you have to find different ways to score here if you're Army. Just a bit off the mark there. Then Lazaro Revilla left that off. So 5-2 right now for CHOCO MUCHO. Great start.
This is what I was telling you a while ago, that Army has to be in their best consistency, especially with their fundamentals, their ball control. They cannot afford to give out all those easy points to CHOCO MUCHO because CHOCO MUCHO will definitely capitalize on it.
Valentina from the back, and that's long. Or was there a touch? The point will go to Army.
So Kat Tolentino, that's her bread and butter ever since her UAAP days.
It's interesting that you mentioned, tama ka nga eh, mixture of green and blue.
Green and blue.
Itong CHOCO MUCHO. Honestly, I don't think if you mix green and blue, purple yung lalabas eh. But then that's how it turns out here in volleyball. And off the hands of Army, CHOCO MUCHO on the board once more.
I expect a lot of things from Des Cheng with her addition to CHOCO MUCHO right now. And being a dedicated open hitter, left side hitter throughout her career, it's something that CHOCO MUCHO has struggled with in their previous conferences.
I feel like there's a different dimension now to this CHOCO MUCHO team with the addition of Ogunsanya, Des Cheng, and of course there are other people on the bench as well who could make a difference. But that time, Army finding the hole in the middle. Take a look at this. The light tap finds the space.
Ogunsanya wasn't too pressed on the net right there, so Jeanette Meral found the seam.
Oh, bumawi naman si Ogunsanya. Going strong and finishing with a flourish. Ogunsanya to serve here for CHOCO MUCHO. 7 serving 4. Perez sets that up. Sneaks in on the other side.
Good decision by Tubino to go for a down-the-line attack, challenging the block of the shorter reach of Dina Wong.
Royce Tubino. Again, I'm a big fan of how our writers described her last game. Honey barbecue daw. But at that time, just a bit too long. 8-5 in favor of CHOCO MUCHO. We go to our first technical timeout. Don't go away.
Okay lang.
Sulit saya ang inyong panonood kasama ang Sulit TV. Entertainment, sports, news, and information. Andito lahat. Mapapanood ang TV5, 1 Sports, 1PH at lahat ng free-to-air channels. Siksik na, digital at malinaw pa sa halagang 780 pesos lang. Tumawag lang sa 02-8888 5555 o maaari rin pumunta sa piling authorized stores nationwide. Mabibili rin sa Shopee at Lazada. Bistahin ang Sulit TV Facebook page para sa iba pang mga detalye. Kaya ano pang hinihintay nyo? Bili na ng Sulit TV powered by TV5. Now we turn it over to the other member of our broadcast panel, Janine Choi.
Honey Royce Tobino isn't too satisfied with their opening game performance against the F2 Cargo Movers. She said that in their previous game, they gave up too many service errors. That's why in their game today against the CHOCO MUCHO Flying Titans, their main priority will be service received. Honey Royce also stressed the importance of minimizing their unforced errors to be able to sustain their team's confidence throughout this ballgame. Honey Royce and the rest of the Army Lady Troopers want to get into the winning column. That's why they're leaving all things unnecessary outside the volleyball court and execute what they practice. Back to you guys.
Salamat, Janine, and very interesting that she mentioned the unforced errors. We were talking about it before this actual game, and it's a constant theme dito para sa Army, but it's like easier said than done all the time.
And actually shows with the stats that I'm taking early on in this first third of the first set. Like CHOCO MUCHO, their clean attacks is only about 3 points. So most of the points also of CHOCO MUCHO at this point are errors coming from Army.
Well, in this occasion, though, not necessarily an error. Oh, no, maybe it was. But then there was just so many hands there for CHOCO MUCHO. Point goes to them. And right now, timeout called on the floor. And great start here for CHOCO MUCHO. Sabi nga ni BDL kanina that they cannot afford a slow start. Let's listen in.
Nasa atin na momento, nawawala kasi nagsiservice error tayo. Napakasimple yan. 9 by 18. Hindi natin may pasok yung bola. Pag-isipan nyo muna, pwede kayo huminga na malalim. We have 8 seconds to serve. Bilang kayo, at least 5. Saka kayo mag-serve.
So Coach Kung Fu telling them to regroup about the unforced errors. My math serves me right so far. Attack faults for Army is 4, service error is 3. So that makes 3 points only earned by CHOCO MUCHO. Easy points, or 7 easy points given to them early on in this first set.
You see, that's why I like having you here. Eh. You're here to do the math. Eh. And ako nang bahala sa communications. Ikaw na lang sa math. De Leon getting that through. And she has that power. She has yung aura na yun eh. That when she goes up there, it's going to be tough to stop and it leaves the defense scrambling.
Yeah, and it's very important to have a threatening presence, especially even if you're a middle and your primary responsibility is to block. Having a threatening presence in terms of attack also confuses a lot of the defense of the other team. Who will they have to guard or defend against?
That was long from Tobino as CHOCO MUCHO off here to a flying start. But as we mentioned a while ago, karamihan sa mga points ng CHOCO MUCHO are coming from the errors of Army. And if you are going to at least build confidence for yourself, talking about Army, you have to clean up your act sooner rather than later. Wong with the setup. And another easy finish there coming from Tolentino, finding that space from the wing.
And that's what I was telling about the threatening presence of Bea De Leon as a quicker, like Boomer was guarding Bea De Leon, and good decision from Dina to just push it to the pins to Kat Tolentino where she is unopposed.
Service error there coming from CHOCO MUCHO. So a moment of reprieve here para sa Army Black Mamba.
Going back to what I said about consistency for Army Black Mamba. They cannot afford to give out a lot of ball control errors.
Army Black Mamba trying to get back into this. Aggie Perez with the serve. Beating at the net, and the ball is still alive. Cheng. No good there. Now from the back. That's just a bit too long there for Army once more. So CHOCO MUCHO getting the job done, defending very well, mixing up their attacks. We're seeing very dynamic movement from them. in the way that they have attacked Army. They have been really imposing defensively as well.
Well, the thing is about CHOCO MUCHO right now, they're very well balanced in terms of offense and defense, and they have tall players, they have Ben at the back. So I get the frustration in the part of Army, or they're more pressured to be at their best when it comes to attack, because this is a highly defensive team right now for CHOCO MUCHO.
Really, but do you feel that yung defensive play ng CHOCO MUCHO is probably what they improved on the most since the last conference?
Yeah, and it's something that I think they would bank on throughout this conference.
Another service error there for Army Black Mamba. And you have to say that if you're Army, if you lower the amount of errors that you've had, and knowing that the score right now is 15-8 in favor of CHOCO MUCHO, you'd be in a more competitive game right now.
And something to consider when you're down by that much and you're committing a lot of errors. And another one is to just go to your strengths, basically.
Well, let's see whether or not they can find that strength after this break. 16-8 in favor of the girls in purple. The PVL 2022 Open Conference is available on One Sports and in high definition on One Sports Plus, Signal TV, channel 261. So if you're watching us online, we're on TV too. Check us out there. CHOCO MUCHO in control here, 16-8 in the first set against the Army Black Mamba. Army Black Mamba really have been shooting themselves in the foot here, figuratively, with the number of errors that they have been giving up to CHOCO MUCHO. And little CHOCO MUCHO naman, with that ace there, again, right out of the break, you have to feel they are making Army pay for all of the errors that they've been giving up.
As you can see there, another error from passing from the libero of Army. And right now, my math says that out of 14 attempts, they only had 3 successful kills.
Nakakawa mo ng pwesto yung libero natin. Ibig sabihin, nawawala tayo sa concentration natin sa kabila. Kasi andun ang gagaling yung bola. Mag-gilid kayo magkadabing dalawa. Hindi tayo pwedeng kada time out, tsaka lang tayo mag-a-adjust. Kayo doon sa loob. Nakaset up na tayo. Kung nalilito ulit kayo, bumalik lang ulit kayo sa sistema na gusto natin mangyari. Meron tayong sistema. Sundin niyo yung sistema na ginagawa natin para hindi kayo maligaw. Let's go!
Following the system, making sure you don't forget what to run. I always say easier said than done, but then I have to say that again. Kasi grabe talaga, the amount of pressure that's being put on them right now by the CHOCO MUCHO team is really impressive.
Yeah, I think that's going back to the pressure because of you're up against a highly defensive team. So there's a tendency to want to do a lot of unconventional tactics just to circumvent that defensive prowess of your opponent.
Well, talking about defense, the two new faces of CHOCO MUCHO combined to just slam the door. 18-8 right now, very one-sided here in favor of CHOCO MUCHO. But as we've seen in the past, this Army team has a second gear in them. Descheng gets that through.
Signature Descheng, even if she wasn't able to wind up her maximum approach, that's the court smart of being able to, or having a lot of experience as a left-sided hitter.
Murat leaves that long. Tolentino just a bit too long with that serve there. 19-9. Still a long way to go here for Army to make this a competitive set. CHOCO MUCHO is trying to limit all their errors.
That service error, something they can afford at this point because they're putting a lot of pressure in Army with their aggressiveness in the serve.
And there was that gap in the middle that no one covered. So Tolentino going high in the sky for this one. Getting it off the hands of the defenders and really no one there to claim that second ball. Perez sets that up. Good blocking there from CHOCO MUCHO. They go to the other side. Gaston. So CHOCO MUCHO running away with this one. Take a look at this again from Gaston. Just bouncing that off the hands.
Gaston now in the scoring board, so all players of CHOCO MUCHO now have a successful kill.
Service area there. Black Mamba finally breached the double-digit mark here in the first set. But of course, trailing by 11 at that. So a few changes here for Army. And CHOCO MUCHO make a change as well. Gina Rocha coming in for CHOCO MUCHO. Now Army. Can they try and inch their way back in this one? Swinging that to the other side, trying to restart everything, but no. The point will go CHOCO MUCHO's way anyway. 4 touches there for Army Black Mamba. You can see the faces of the coaches there for Army Black Mamba. It has been a set for them to forget, but again, we're waiting for them to find their rhythm because they have the ability.
They have the experience also. They have lots of veteran players who have some championship experience in the league also.
Defense there from Ogun Sanya. Wong pushed that across. Cheng with the setup. Didn't really get enough power on that one. And finally, Army come away with that. So at this point, it's hard to say that Army will have the opportunity to take away or at least make this set competitive. But you want to end strong as we take a look at this one.
Build momentum, and with that, Ogunsanya, she was in the perfect spot coming from the first ball of Dina Wong, the setter. She has the responsibility. It just so happened that she committed a double catch.
From the back there, that is too long. 2 straight points here for Army.
Something that Army can start building momentum off coming into the second set.
Again, just trying to get into the rhythm. It felt like they were a bit jittery sa simula nila. And that will go the other way. Army, though, insistent that that was in. So the referees will confer here. So taking a look at that again. And point will go to Army.
Good decision on the part of the first referee. It's the call of the closer linesman.
So again, Army, getting into this game. Again, this is not a competitive first set based on the score, but then they need that momentum, that confidence builder going into the second one for sure. Gonzalez with the setup on the attack. Gaston puts that back in. Morente. Go back to Gaston. And she puts CHOCO MUCHO just a bit closer to officially claiming the first set.
Bongay Gaston a little late to the scoring party for CHOCO MUCHO. But right now, she has the highest percentage at 66%.
When you look at this CHOCO MUCHO team, you mentioned a while ago that so many people have been scoring. It just feels like they have so many weapons, so many ways to hurt you. And they're going to be nightmare to scout as De Leon almost got that through. Great stop there coming from Army. Setting up Gaston again. And Gaston late to the scoring party, but she's taking all the snacks, Doc.
Yeah.
She's getting it done.
Easy pickings for Pongay now at 75%.
Of course, encouraging end to the first set dito para sa Army Black Mamba. Signs of life. But right now, the red hot start of Choco Mucho has spelled the difference, and they end the set with an exclamation point as well.
Yeah, when Kat Tolentino gets that full wind up with her approach, it's so difficult to stop her.
Take a look at that again. Ano, yan yung full wind up eh. You see it coming, you try to adjust to it, but it's just so difficult to get to. When we return, the second set, don't go away. (25-13) in favor of the Choco Mucho Flying Titans against Army Black Mamba. Ito yung mga highlights natin dito sa set number 1. And sinabi nga ni PVL kanina that they cannot afford a slow start. And dito sa debut nila in the Open Conference, they have come out like a house on fire, really taking it to Army Black Mamba.
And that's just what Choco Mucho did. Put too much pressure, start off strong, and capitalize on the errors of Army. Army had a little bit of time to regroup towards the end of the set with the errors being given by Choco Mucho, but just so happened that defense was on point for Choco Mucho, even if with the substitution put in by Army, they weren't able to capitalize.
If you are a member of the Army coaching staff, you are telling your players right now to start again and try and get going finally. Take a look at the stats here, and 11 opponent errors for Army and only 9 against Choco Mucho, but then those errors came in very late.
Yeah, and the errors of Choco Mucho at that point, I'm not too bothered by it, even if it was a whopping 9 points, but because they're putting much more pressure into Army for them to force them to do a lot of errors themselves. So those errors done by Choco Mucho with their services, putting it more aggression, paid off in a way.
Welcome back to the Paco Arena for PVL 2022 Open Conference. Set number 2 between the Army Black Mamba and the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. Choco Mucho, if you're just joining us, on the right side of the screen. Army on the left. And ito, Choco Mucho, I'm going to admit it though, I felt that maybe there would be a bit of time required to adjust to the new personnel. Siyempre, iba pa rin yung competitive experience in terms of developing chemistry. But so far, starting out as if they haven't missed a beat, as if they've been together for a very long time, as Choco Mucho get on the board first again here in set number 2.
Notable thing is, pinagpalit si De Leon and Agunsanya. De Leon is now the second middle.
Good stop there, but Choco Mucho on the attack once again. Trying to save it, but Morente could not direct it the way she wanted to.
Intelligent play by Kat Tolentino. She was being dug up with her harder hits. So just a roll shot to just throw in a wench and just really disrupt the defense of Army.
Gusto ko yan, throw in a wrench.
Yeah.
Because, syempre, when you throw a wrench into something, it just destroys everything. But Army get on the board here. So, let's see whether or not. Ano nga ba nga natin eh? If Army could actually bring in some of their late first set momentum here in set number 2, we could see a more competitive matchup here. Choco Mucho, though, scoring off the block. Descheng, how impressive has she been here for her first match for Choco Mucho?
Well, so far, Descheng has been the key factor also. She was the one who started off strong for Choco Mucho in the first set, and right now her numbers are really good for her. Minimum no errors yet, and 4 out of 6 attempts.
Siyempre, just right after we praised her, just a quick service error there. Alam mo, kung sa basketball yan, that's a commentator's curse of free throws. And I guess the other way around in sa volleyball, right before they serve.
Notable switch up also in the rotation of Army. Ebden now as the first open, and Morente is back to her natural position as an opposite.
Tied ball game here, 3 apiece as Army Black Mamba already outperforming what they did in that first set.
So something they could capitalize on, putting more pressure in the service, causing a reception error in the part, or an over-receive in the part of Choco Mucho.
Molde gets that to fall. So Molde, another new face here. It feels really like an embarrassment of riches dito para sa Choco Mucho in terms of yung attacking potential nila. As we take a look at that one more time.
So much firepower right now for Choco Mucho. And I think they really found their best lineup in years. Nunag now in the place of Aguntanya.
Off the blockers again. It feels like we haven't been saying Topino's name enough eh. Sabi niya, talk about me naman.
Using the, or tooling the block of Nunag.
Army Black Mamba. Again, trying to take their first lead here, and that is too long.
Something, once again, they cannot afford at this match.
But I think it's safe to say, Doc AJ, again, albeit very, very early in the second set, this is already a much improved performance para sa Army Black Mamba.
Yeah, definitely.
Kat Tolentino, 6 points, 4 attacks, a block and an ace to her name. Wong sets up Nunag, and boy, everyone was faked out there. Molde, good blocking there from Army, and just sneaking that through.
Ina Wong. A little frustration in her part that her spikers cannot kill it.
Siya na lang.
Yeah, just do the job.
Take a look at that there, and just a little tap there. She was very aware of the space available to her.
Yeah, an opportune time for her because everyone is scrambling. They're not getting the first ball high enough to establish a better approach.
Nunag. Won't set up Nunag, tapping that the other side again. Topino and Choco Mucho tried to keep that alive, but Nunag and Molde in each other's way.
Topino just using the gap between Nunag and the blocker. Medyo malamig pa si Cherry right now for Choco Mucho.
Well, you take a look at that, and you know, sometimes you just get into each other's way. Morente. Molde on the attack. There was venom in that one, but the Black Mamba there to turn that away. Oh, they might have been able to leave that. I'm not quite sure if she misread that. But regardless, Choco Mucho now up by 2. The set just a bit behind there. Not much venom, not much power in that one. But then Nunag doing the job once more. I like the way that she attacks the ball. It's always with finesse. And take a look at that again. And here's what I was talking about. Just doing just enough to get that through.
She recognized that the ball was already too tight into the net, that if she went for an aggressive hit, she would have clipped the net and caused an error.
8-5 in favor of CHOCO MUCHO. We'll be right back. Sulit saya ang inyong panonood kasama ang Sulit TV. Entertainment, sports, news, and information, andito lahat. Mapapanood ang TV5, 1 Sports, 1PH at lahat ng free-to-air channels. Siksik na, digital at malinaw pa sa halagang 780 pesos lang. Tumawag lang sa 02-8888-5555 o maaari rin pumunta sa piling authorized stores nationwide. Mabibili rin sa Shopee at Lazada. Bisitahin ang Sulit TV Facebook page para sa iba pang mga detalye. Kaya ano pang iniintay nyo? Bili na ng Sulit TV, powered by TV5. Janine Choi has a report for us here.
When it comes to familiarity with CHOCO MUCHO, Michelle Morente definitely has an advantage. Having been teammates with a lot of them back in college, Michelle stated that facing CHOCO MUCHO today will not be easy. One of their main strengths as a team is their height. They have a lot of tall players who are very aggressive and spiking. Michelle also acknowledges Dina Wong as a setter and credited how much Dina has improved throughout the years from being a rookie and to making it to the national team. And truly, Benden Lazaro Revilla's skills as a libero is not to be underestimated as well. Michelle and the rest of her team knows that CHOCO MUCHO will be tough, but they are willing to fight and win today's game. Back to you.
Salamat, Janine. And the familiarity is there for Michelle, and I am sure she wants to get over one. Her former teammates, you know, they're still friends, pero former teammates na lang yung sasabihin natin dito.
Yeah, actually, everyone I think has been a former teammate of her here, except for Molde.
I guess that is true, I think.
And Nunag.
And Nunag, that's right. Cheng sneaks that through. Boy, what a debut here for Cheng. Cannot understate that here as we take a look at this. Lined it up perfectly.
4 out of 9 attempts. That's very respectable. No errors at all for Cheng with her attacks.
That's what you call efficient volleyball. That one just a bit too long. Army within 1 point here.
So far, CHOCO MUCHO not as aggressive with their attacks compared to the first set. Like out of 12 attempts, only 5 successful. So that's below 50% for the whole team compared to their first set where they were firing from all cylinders.
Cheng again. Well, itong CHOCO MUCHO, this team, we all know how varied their attacks can be, but sometimes they can just go to the same thing over and over again, like finding Cheng in that spot and get the same result.
Yeah, and something that I'm learning as a beach volleyball player right now is to stick with your strengths. Like if your opponent is not getting you at your strongest, wait for them to adjust before you make something different.
And CHOCO MUCHO again trying to widen this gap. Army have either tied this up or been within a point, but CHOCO MUCHO right now aching to create some separation. So quick timeout here, 11-8 in favor of the CHOCO MUCHO Flying Titans. Army Black
Galing sa
Mamba,
service
let's
ng
listen in.
tao natin. Oy, listen. Yung galing sa service ng tao natin, di ba, nakaserve, aatake na yung kabila. Saka kayo mag-start. Ang ginagawa niyo, lumalamang agad kayo sa kanan o sa kaliwa. Mag-start kayo sa gitna, magbasa kayo ng block. Huwag kayo tumago sa block. Pag umangat kayo dito, patayan na naman tayo sa libero. Ang laki ng kinakaya ng libero. Balik ulit kayo sa sistema kung paano tayo nagdi-dress, kung paano tayo nag-ensayo. Mag-stick kayo doon. Kasi yun lang ang nangyayari.
Volleyball Live, Champions for Life. Abangan ang pagbabalik ng UAAP at panoorin ang Season 84 Men's Basketball simula ng March 26 tuwing Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays live sa One Sports and UAAP Varsity Channel. Available on Signal TV, Channel 263 HD, and on Signal Play. Again, adjustments there coming from Army Black Mamba, trying to address their issues after the serve, the receptions as well. And you have to feel that, again, the pieces are slowly coming together for Army, pero it has to come quicker if they want to be more competitive. And what a finish there. Morente could not handle it.
Yeah, and just those 4 instances before the timeout, Choco Mucho as a team, I was mentioning that they were below 50% with their attacking efficiency, but now they're above 50% because out of those 4 attempts, they were able to put down away 4 points.
Just a bit short there, as Army granted a bit of a breather. 12-9, still well within reach here for this set para sa Army. Tolentino off the block, good stop there. Gonzalez with the setup, literally punching that away. From the back, still no good. De Leon getting that through.
A lot of credit to Dina Wong there. Getting the blocker to commit to her, leaving an opening for Bea De Leon. Misjudgment.
Morente trying to pull one back. The blockers doing their job well. A little finesse in that attack, but we go the other way. Free ball here for Choco Mucho to deal with. Who do they go to? They go to Tolentino. They go to Tolentino again. But then Molde there to end the sequence.
Once again, it's that ball control haunting Army right now because it was already a free ball coming their way, and passing it straight into the net is something that they shouldn't be doing right now.
Siyempre, si Choco Mucho earlier on this set were rocked a bit by the increased firepower of this Army team, but now finding a bit of a rhythm themselves. Another point here coming Choco Mucho's way.
Another error in the part of Army. They weren't really established with their defense. Morente coming from the left side, trying to attempt to block on the right side.
So looking at the attack points for all sets so far, Choco Mucho with 22, Army only with 6. Again, things to address here if you're an Army Black Mamba. That one's sneaking through Villarreal.
So far, Villarreal is the lone bright star for Army right now. She was 2 for 3 in the first set and currently 2 for 3 now in the second set. So commendable numbers, 4 out of 6 attempts.
But straight to the net there. Choco Mucho now up 16-10. And it has been a slower start here for Choco Mucho, but they have found their rhythm. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the Paco Arena. Choco Mucho still in charge here. One Sports is available for free on Signal Play. One Sports Plus is available on Signal Play Premium for 75 pesos a month. You can catch us there as well. Catch all your favorite stars in HD. And ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait to have you back here in the arena, wherever venue we go to. Kasi grabe talaga, these athletes, these girls, deserve all your love. And Molde, boy oh boy, continuing the hot run that Choco Mucho has had in the last few points. And Army Black Mamba, right after the TTO, call for another timeout. And really, they have to address defense like that as Choco Mucho just running away with this. So let's listen in.
Execution na maganda doon. Sayang shot play. Kasi iniiwanan niyo yung kasama niyo. Pagdating sa kanila, tapik-tapik lang tayo. Pagbalik sa atin, dinidiinan tayo ng gusto. Hindi naman tayo makablock. Pag nasa atin ang atake, atakein niyo na maayos. Kahit malalakin. May mga dulo ng daliri, hindi pa tamaan niyo naman. Diyan na lumalabas yung skills natin at saka yung technique. Kaya nga sasagot dyan, ha?
The frustration is obvious dito para sa Army Black Mamba. The intent and the attack not there. The verve, the power, the energy. Walang-wala on that end of the floor. And the coaches here, the coaching staff as a whole, see that and want more from Army. Let's see whether or not that changes here. But what can you do in the face of such power?
Yeah, so it all started with a good serve coming from De Leon, putting Army out of system, sending in a free ball. Just easy pickings for Nunag.
Nunag has been feasting at the net so far dito para sa Choco Mucho. And almost a miscommunication there. Villarreal, a bit of a mistime, and talk about miscommunication again for Army players looking at each other, and no one got the ball.
This is where the frustration of the coaching staff of Army is really stemming from. The intent and initiative of the players to score some points is questionable for Army at this segment of the game.
So there was power in that attack, but really the hands were up for Choco Mucho. So it's not just having the intent, having the power, and executing well. You still have to outplay this very well-drilled Choco Mucho team.
Yeah, and I get that Tubino wanted to go for power, but you're up against Tolentino and Nunag. And
Go Choco Mucho's way. Of course, Army disagreeing with that call, saying that there was a touch on the block.
well, Tubino had the best intention there to use the block to her advantage, because I was saying Nunag and Tolentino are the tallest players in Choco Mucho right now.
Good blocking again from Choco Mucho. This time, electing to finesse that. And off the block, Tolentino laying down the hammer.
Kat Tolentino, 6 kills out of 10 attempts in just this set alone.
Earlier in this set, it was a closely contested matchup. But then Choco Mucho, once they found their gears, just put their foot down and took control. De Leon. Tolentino. Just a bit too long.
Yeah, something they can afford, definitely right now. It's when you're being aggressive and you're committing errors, but you're putting more pressure into your opponents as what they've been doing these whole second set. I'm good with that.
Kaya nga medyo, I guess, misleading yung stat that first set wherein we mentioned that si Choco Mucho gave away 9 error points. Most of them came late in the first set, and really it was almost inconsequential as Isa Molde, boy oh boy, with the attack, with the kill, and another point here for CHOCO MUCHO.
Molde finding the gap between Morente and the antenna. Now at 4 out of 6 attempts, really high percentage for Molde, who just started here in the second set.
23-11. Army sinking without a trace. CHOCO MUCHO with Jem Ferrer in the ball game. Tobino tried to hammer that down, but if you lay a hammer against a wall, there's a chance that the wall will win.
18 Biray now. The scoreboard also for CHOCO MUCHO. Gandang bunot kay Coach Oliver.
Set point here for CHOCO MUCHO. And that is long, and CHOCO MUCHO continue to dominate. Army Black Mamba barely got going. Strong start to the second set, but faded quickly. And CHOCO MUCHO just doing enough to get things done. Take a look at this again. And take a look at the end of that set. When we return, we'll find out whether or not CHOCO MUCHO can arrange a sweep. Don't go away. Two sets to none. Army Black Mamba only getting 11 points on the board there against CHOCO MUCHO. And CHOCO MUCHO, boy, oh boy, have been doing it all. Take a look on the highlights here from Tolentino, who has really been standing tall here. Head and shoulders above some of her teammates here. Kasi grabe naman. There's so many quick contributors here from CHOCO MUCHO. But when you see Tolentino and the way that she's been attacking that ball, you have to say, what a weapon. 11 points to her name already.
11 big points for Kat Tolentino. But even if CHOCO MUCHO had a little bit of slow start in the second set, they kicked the groove in the second half of that second set, when all players were firing across all the boards, when Cheng, Molde, and even Nunag joined the fray, ending with a whopping 55% attack efficiency for the whole team in the second set.
I have to admit, sa simula ng second set, akala ko yung Army finally found a rhythm, will keep it close. Akala ko magiging attack on Titan eh. Pero it was the other way around. CHOCO MUCHO took control, and instead it became the attack of Titan. I'm sorry, Doc. I had to. I know, I had to bring that out for you. And as we take a look at how CHOCO MUCHO have dominated here, alam mo, it felt like the confidence was just really sapped from Army when CHOCO MUCHO found the rhythm. Remember, they tied the ball game twice in that second set, talking about Army, and just faded after they hit the 8-point mark. Here to look at the stats, and only 4 attack points here from Army, and CHOCO MUCHO just flexing.
4 points out of 24 attempts. So that's really
not ideal.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. Yan ang sabihin natin. Yeah. Oo. But you know, if you look at the bright side, Army have limited their errors somewhat. But then attacking this defense, trying to maneuver it and trying to defend well, that has been an issue against the firepower, really the purple fire coming from CHOCO MUCHO. Of course, Army have been in the situation before, 2 sets down to none, and we saw them take down, well, at least peg back a giant of the game as well in F2 last time around. So let's see whether or not they can replicate that against Choco Mucho. Can the third set be really a source of pride dito para sa Army? And now they have a 2-point lead off the block.
Something they can capitalize to gain early momentum here. Well, there are fresh faces for Choco Mucho right now with Ponce taking over the libero and Viray taking over the opposite spot.
Gaston, boy, she was lining that up a lot in the first set, and she continues to be a weapon.
She wanted to make up for her earlier error and just wide open gap for her to hit the ball directly into zone 6.
Cherry Nunag to serve. Army. They had a brief taste of the lead, but then a couple, that particular error rather, make sure that it's tied up early on. You know, you look at the lineup of this Army team, and I'm sure they're going to look at each other and think that we're better than what we're showing so far against this Choco Mucho team. So let's see whether or not they can live up to their own expectations that I'm sure they all have.
Yeah, a lot of shuffling again in the part of Army with their players. Tubino started as a second open, now back to first open. And Morente is not on play. And then from open to opposite.
And Nunag continues to score here for Choco Mucho. That one off the ace. 4-2 right now, doubling up their advantage. Talking about Choco Mucho. Tubino will check out here for Mitch Morente.
Morente coming from opposite in the second set, back to the first open. So something that is interesting in the part of Army because they're not sticking to their guns. They're trying to do a lot of experimentation with their players.
Caitlin Viray off the block, sneaking that one in. And Choco Mucho, so they were trailing very momentarily, 2-0, and suddenly go on a 5-point run themselves. Army, can they end that? Yes, they can. Paran.
I like the intensity of Paran in that attack.
Yeah, you saw that coming. And we're showing you slow-mo there. Pero pati sa slow-mo, parang busy pa rin.
Something that her teammates should follow suit with is that intensity, that intention,
Yeah.
but minimize the errors.
Well, syempre, that just happened right there as we take a look at that. Yeah, the errors have been an issue as we see. Ano sa Mela Tunay on the side? Grabe. Siguro. May chismis yun. And that was a bit short there. Again, Army within 2.
So interesting to see that Viray is now in the back row. If she can also provide that same pressure that Kat Tolentino provides, even if she's in the back row.
Yeah. Well, you have to feel for Army right now because the amount of errors that they are giving away, just when you feel that they are, you know, within touching distance. Service errors right now, actually,
Choco Mucho had 9.
Mucho has more.
But it's something that's paying off for them.
Yeah.
Because they're more aggressive with their services, generating aces out of those services.
Well, Choco Mucho right now, still with advantage, twice. You know, right now 8-4. And when we return after technical timeout, let's see whether or not Army have something in them. Sulit saya ang inyong panonood kasama ang Sulit TV. Entertainment, sports, news and information, nandito lahat. Mapapanood ang TV5, One Sports, One PH at lahat ng free-to-air channels, siksik na, digital at malinaw pa sa halagang 780 pesos lang. Tumawag lang sa 02-8888-5555 o maaari rin pumunta sa piling authorized stores nationwide. Mabibili rin sa Shopee at Lazada. Bisitahin ang Sulit TV Facebook page para sa iba pang mga detalye. Kaya ano pang hinihintay nyo? Bili na ng Sulit TV powered by TV5. Janine Joy has this report.
Leaders in the team who make the team feel like home with their new lineup this conference. Back to you guys.
Salamat, Janine. And, you know, I asked that question a while ago about chemistry para sa Choco Mucho, considering yung mga new faces nila. If I'm not mistaken, around 6 new faces there, all of them with big roles here for Choco Mucho. And it looks like they've known each other forever, Doc. I know that they've known each other as opponents, pero iba pa rin kapag teammates yung pinag-uusapan. But Golde going on the attack and scoring once more for Choco Mucho.
And going back to your question a while ago, if chemistry will be a factor for Choco Mucho, I'm not really concerned about chemistry because these players have played against each other for the longest time in their collegiate careers, and they know the tendencies of each other. I'm sure they were when they were
100%.
still in college.
9-6 right now, 9-7-6. And another ace coming from Choco Mucho. It feels like in this set in particular, they have been scoring very well from the service line.
Ogunsanya with her trademark floater from her college days, and everything is a shambles with Army right now because they shuffled a lot of players with their positions all throughout these 3 sets that there's bound to be confusion when it comes to who will do the passing duties.
From the back, Gaston, no good. Gonzalez with the setup. They look for Morente. Morente almost got the point there. Free ball. And could not save it. Talk about Choco Mucho. That's more like it if you're an Army fan. So the question is right now, can they build on it? You have to clean up your act from the service line. Mitch Morente, 1 point from 1 attack. From the back, Gaston trying to save it. Wong could not fool the defenders then. The poor defense so far shown by Choco Mucho. Gonzalez to set up again, and finally gets that through. Army, all of a sudden, just finding a way to string together points.
This is what Army needs. Like, if they're insistent, that's an opportunity to score. And they shouldn't give chances for Choco Mucho to regroup. They just have to put a lot of intensity with their attacks, especially when in system.
Morente. We go to Molde again on the wing. And that sneaks in there for Army. Audrey Paran. Yeah, she has been a bright spot here.
I was about to say, in this 3rd set, 2 for 2 for Audrey Paran early on in this 3rd set.
And just in, as we saw there by the slow-mo. I don't think even if we saw otherwise, wala tayong masasabi. So, and the service error finally there for Army. Again, that has been something to clean up, which is unfortunate because they were within 1 point from tying this ball game.
That's a double-edged sword. She wanted to put more heat. Morente wanted to put a lot of pressure in that serve.
Gonzalez with the setup. Paran again. Si Paran gumagawa at paraan. Getting that through off the blockers. Oh me, oh my.
And if she was a little bit out of system, choosing the block of Viray because it wasn't too well established on the net.
Viray could not get past the blockers. They set up Viray again. Gonzalez saves it. Paran sends it the other way. And Nuna unable to get enough mustard on that one. Tied ball game here, 11 apiece.
This is how the set started for Choco Mucho a while ago in second set. Very slow for them, not their usual aggressiveness, and committing more errors in the attack.
But we have to credit Army as well. They have found an attacking verb. And will they get this one? Yes, they will. Ang Ponce could not save it. And the Lady Troopers with a 1-point advantage here. The slimmest of cushions, but they'll take anything they can get.
And all thanks to Audrey Paran being the starter plug for Army right now.
Biray. Well, Biray saw that corner and said, I'ma take it. The setup, perfect. The finish, beautiful.
Viray has had enough of not generating points with those attempts.
Gonzalez with the setup. We're now seeing a more varied Army attack here. And as I say that, boy, Choco Mucho just showcasing their power once more.
Something to build off. So hard to defend the lefty. Coming from the right side of the court, she has all the angles to choose from. If you're the blockers of Army, you have to ensure that you're in the best position to guard that.
Paran. Paran has come to life here in the third set. We've seen glimpses of it all game long, but she has finally come to her own.
5 for 5 for Paran just in this set alone. 100% efficiency.
That sneaks in, but Gaston there to provide an attack. Who did they go to here? Gonzalez sets up Paran. It has been a set to remember from Paran.
Just really hitting off that block with all that intention, with all that power. Viray and Inag not pressing directly in the net. It's just going to be easy for her to do that.
And Army give the point right back to Choco Mucho. Tie ball game at 14 apiece. Again, this has been almost indicative of what we've seen of Army. Not indicative, rather, but then almost similar, eerily similar to what we've seen against F2 if you're Army. Very subpar first two sets, and here in the third, they're showing so much more fight. Gaston could not find the connection there.
Set was too pushed far from Gaston, trying to go for a wrist away. Just not in the best position to do that.
So Paran, who has had a very efficient game so far. Gaston, all the power could not be stopped. Pumunta sa LED board.
That's the kind of set that Pongay wants. A little bit straight into her right shoulder so that she can choose that cross-court angle.
Gonzalez with this setup. Off the block, and the wall does its job. Bunsanya and Gaston combining to make sure they go into the second technical timeout with a 1-point advantage. Man, this Army Black Mamba team has finally come to life. Let's see whether or not there's more of that when we return. welcome back to the PVL as we take a look at this block coming from CHOCO MUCHO. And nasabi nga natin kanina that this CHOCO MUCHO team will probably show their improvement most in the defensive end of the floor.
Ogunsanya being well known for her blocking prowess in her collegiate career. And this is high time for CHOCO MUCHO to build up the momentum because Audrey Paran, the lone bright star for Army, is now in the back row.
Tie ball game again. Serve just a bit short, a bit too low.
So it's in the best interest of CHOCO MUCHO to really capitalize while the offensive threat of Army is still not in front.
Gaston tries to just tease that through. Again, Army playing for their lives in this particular set. Gaston again, but that's too long.
CHOCO MUCHO not as efficient in the attacking department compared to the first two sets.
Army gave the point away again. These are the moments you have to take advantage of. And so far, they have not been able to do that.
Something to really take advantage because CHOCO MUCHO is at 8 out of 32 attempts. So that's 25% compared to more than 50% team efficiency in the first two sets.
And Villarreal finds the gap in the middle. Buhay pa ang Army dito. Again, they are playing to extend this contest even further, and they are showing that here. Take a look at this setup, and Villarreal with the finish, finishing in between the two blockers.
So Army trying to put up a bigger wall in front with Ordaz.
Just a bit short again, and look, I cannot repeat it over and over again. The service errors are stopping Army from building on any advantage they managed to get.
They're trying to be more aggressive with the services, but these errors are not generating points for them.
At what point do you say, let's try to keep it safe? Right now, kanina sinabi natin that isa service errors lamang yung CHOCO MUCHO, but right now that has changed 12 to 10 right now as Bonag gets the lead back for Army.
Yeah, and if the playmaker for Army right now can notice that they're generating a lot of points from the right wing, one with Villarreal and the slide attack from Bonag, that's something that they can consider if they want to retain the lead or maintain the lead.
Pero naman, Doc. My goodness. I don't know if I cursed Mitch Morente as she took that, as I mentioned it that we have to watch for service errors again, but there's another one. Let's see if CHOCO MUCHO can take advantage here. Paran. Off the block. 20 to 19. It's gut check time here. Especially for Army as we take a look at the finish off the block from Paran. Doc.
Just have to keep the services in. They're at their best rotation to steal this set from CHOCO MUCHO. They have a full front line. Their best scorer so far is in front.
The blocking there coming from CHOCO MUCHO. But then the firepower. Just too much for Army to deal with. Tied ball game here.
So much heat being brought in by Caitlin Viray, and good decision of Wong to give back-to-back sets to her while the blockers of Army are not yet established.
5 points from 5 attacks. Talk about Isa Molde. Perez. Parang tried to sneak that through. But then the long hands of Choco Mucho got in the way.
And it is at this point where you know your best scorer, Paran, is in heat, is in a lot of good spots or hitting a lot of good hit or good attacks. Just capitalize on that.
Perez with the setup. Off the hands of the blockers, pero buhay pa rin. They go to the other side. Choco Mucho could not kill it then. Off the block once more. Army title up. (21-21). Army Black Mamba wants to extend this contest. Take a look at the numbers of Gonzalez with 11 excellent sets. So the referees conferring here, and a chance for both Army and Choco Mucho to set things up. And I just have to say, Doc AJ, this is your first live game covering again after, having to make do from a booth from very far away. This is Janine Choi's first game back. And this is my first PVL game to call. And, card shown here, Dog. Do you understand what happened here in the moment? Not quite sure, to be completely frank.
Yeah, yellow card being given or awarded against Choco Mucho. It's a warning. Because there was a delay caused by contesting that call.
Well, the service in. But can they take advantage? And yes, they can! Villarreal with the block!
Perfect positioning for Villarreal. The ball was not as pushed into the antenna.
Take a look at that. And alam mo, for Gaston, that has been a place where she has been feasting. And what a way to stop that and shut the door down for Army. Let's listen in the huddle if we can. So at the moment, I don't think we have the mic alongside Choco Mucho. But right now, taking a look at this Choco Mucho team, what has been the biggest difference for you? Oh, no, rather, the booms there. So let's listen in.
Ano next na gagawin? Cover! Di ba? Yun ang kinakailangan. Hindi pwede pag pinalo tapos na. Okay, sige. Hey, listen. Girls, yung mga ganitong laban, test of character. Hanggang saan ba yung character ninyo? You will rule the day or you will not? Let's go the day!
Doc AJ, test of character. Sabi ni Coach O, I love his quotes at the end of his huddles. Pati ako namomotivate eh.
It's a test of character, definitely. If they can bring back the aggressiveness they had in the first two sets to generate points out of every attempt.
Oh, and the point goes to Gaston. Army did not agree. But then 22 apiece here.
I was just about to say a while ago why Gaston was blocked solidly by Villarreal because she hasn't been showing a down-the-line attack all throughout that match. So Villarreal knew her tendency and switching it up, like again, throwing in a wrench, go for a down-the-line attack, successful for Choco.
Timeout call on the floor again. All right, well, Army trying to survive here. Let's listen in.
B? 3. 5. Ha? B3, 5. Sige. Okay ka sa sa open na, okay ka dun. Basta huwag mo lang i-early ng pasok. Tingnan mo yung bato ng bola tsaka mo pasukan. Advantage ka kasi ikaw ang pinakamataas na malun sa atin. Ang kailangan mo lang dito, timing. Kung sa'yo ibibigay ang bola. Tutok muna sa quick, pagtaya ulit, tingnan mo kung sinong pinaka-advantage natin na pwesto. Kung sinong pang-atakehin natin. Ngayon, yung tao natin sa likod, pag tayo atake naman, anong kasunod ng atake? Kailangan natin ng cover. After ng cover, kailangan may transition play ka na kagad. Okay? Pero ang una mo natin gagawin, pumasa na maayos.
Coach Kung Fu just reminding the Lady Troopers to just be insistent. don't do something fancy or anything out of what they trained. They have the momentum.
In other words, don't play our game.
Play our game. Play our strengths.
Choco Mucho looking to end this very soon. Ogunsanya sets that up. And off the block, Choco Mucho just 2 points away from ending this one early.
And that's what Coach Oliver was saying a while ago. Test of character. Caitlin Viray, she had the opportunity to score. So just put a lot of firepower in it. Don't let Army recover from that. Now they have the lead.
And just tapping that through, it felt like so many soft touches just did the trick to unlock the solid wall of Choco Mucho. Take a look at that again. Army Black Mamba tied up at 23 apiece. Service errors have been the story here in the third set for Army. Can they keep their serves clean in the last 2 points that they need to extend this one?
Coach Oliver right now contesting that call because Gonzalez de Serrer was from the back and she had a touch over the net that clipped Ogonsanya's block.
Gaston could not get to it first. Play continues here. Viray! So there's the ball touch. And Choco Mucho one away from win number 1 here in the PVL 2022 Open Conference. Is there a twist in the cards here? Or will Choco Mucho win this one?
Really crucial rally for Army. They weren't able to capitalize with Choco Mucho not being in system.
Gaston to end it. And we are still going here. No time to celebrate. Tobino. She goes again. Wong. She sneaks that in. The unlikely source on the floor here from Choco Mucho with the crucial touch. She saw the space. She knew no one was behind. And she did what it took. Take a look at that again. And no one able to get to it.
Dina Wong again. She has a tendency when no one is killing it for her, she has the ability to do it herself.
When she says that she can get the job done herself, that's exactly what she does. Improved fight back from Army in the third set, but too little, too late. When we return, more analysis on the sweep from Choco Mucho. win number 1 here. Para sa Choco Mucho Flying Titans, 25-13, 25-11, and 25-23. And we're going to take a look at some of the highlights of our best player of the game, Kat Tolentino. So many choices here from Choco Mucho. Pero bakit si Kat?
Well, Kat Tolentino inarguably had the best efficiency all throughout the first and second set. Something that's very much different in the third set. You know, commendable win pa rin for Choco Mucho and commendable effort in the part of Viray taking in the reins for Kat Tolentino. But her loss in the third set probably gave some leeway for Army to be more confident with their attacks. Audrey Paran hitting a lot from the right side or from the left side when she was up against, or Kat Tolentino was doing the defensive duties for the first and second there. So Kat Tolentino had much X factor in the first and second set that was missing in the third set. Enough for her to be the best player of the game.
Well, Kat Tolentino is with Janine Toy.
Hi, Kat. So it was a very tough and close match for set number 3. In what aspect do you think that your team struggled?
I think we had a hard time just getting the feel of the court, of course the serves, and we had a hard time gelling at the first set, but in the end we came back. So.
But nonetheless, you finished this game in 3 sets. What did you like the most about what your team showed today?
I think the fact that we were able to finish the fourth set, that everyone was able to help, was a big factor, and I'm just thankful that we were able to win the third set.
So being the player of the game, is there anyone you want to greet?
I'll just greet my family in Canada, and thank you to all the Choco Mucho fans and to also Rubisco management for all your support and for always watching our games and for being there.
There you have it, our player of the game. Back to you guys.
Salamat, Janine, and congratulations again to Kat. And grabe that performance that she bannered here para sa Choco Mucho. I think the word that we can use here is professional. Very professional win from this team. Even in the third set, that was, relatively competitive for this one. Army showing a lot of fight here, but then Choco Mucho doing what it takes to get the job done.
Yeah, and in the part of Army, you can't just rely on one person to deliver the goods for your team. Good thing Audrey Paran was there to shine for them. It so happened that it's only her that was putting a lot of pressure against Choco Mucho. And even if Choco Mucho was a little bit lower in their efficiency in their first set, it was still a commendable team effort to provide a lot of firepower, especially towards the end of the third set.
Well, so far, itong Army have been third set wonders this conference. Again, only 2 games in. And they had a very, very tough schedule. First off, playing against MQ, then Choco Mucho. Grabe, I think that's what you call a baptism through fire. But based on the fact that we now have had our first look at Choco Mucho, I think it's safe to say that yung status nila as one of the favorites, or at least one of the contenders for the PVL, is definitely safe. Let's take a look at the match summary here. What stands out for you?
Well, you can obviously see the glaring difference in terms of attacks and aces and blocks. So offensively, defensively, Choco Mucho was dominant all throughout the game. Opponent errors, even if it's very close for both, in the first 2 sets, Choco Mucho, their errors were negligible because they were generating a lot of points by putting pressure in Army, which is a different story for Army. If you're not generating as much points or not making opportunities for yourself, then those opponent errors are highly magnified.
It's funny because when you look at the errors, it looks close, but then what's also important is when those errors come, and they came at crucial moments. Now, at 6 p.m., we have F2 against Cherry Tigo. Boy, what a matchup that is. Of course, F2 looking to build on an opening win, and Cherry trying to look for the bounce back. That is it for myself, Paolo Del Rosario, alongside Doc AJ Pereira, who finally made it to the game. And I'm so happy that he was here. And for our partner as well, Janine Choi, maraming salamat. And we'll see you in the next games.